Hi again. My name is Megan. I guess I'm going to go over what I learned in the dual language program and go over the data and after the interview. For the interview, I chose to talk to the three teachers that I teach with in fourth grade. I'm the only monolingual, so we have a majority of dual language students on our campus. We are in the Northeast, and I guess when I first started a couple years ago, there was more monolingual than dual language. Um, but I think more parents are starting to put them in dual to see about becoming more bilingual and more fluent in more than one language. I do wish growing up that I had the opportunity to do dual language. I am bilingual. I do speak Spanish, but I don't think I'm fluent enough, which is where I struggle. But anyways, so after doing the interview, I realized that they actually enjoy the dual language program more than being in monolingual. And all three teachers have done both. I'm the only one who's only ever done monolingual. They do seem to enjoy the fact that they teach in two languages. And like mentioned in my interview, they like the idea that if they don't understand the concept in one language, they're able to teach the students in another language. And it seems to help them that way. Using data, I went ahead and looked at the data from the unit assessments that we've taken this year, and the students are performing better in Spanish than they are in English. And the questions are not the same, but the same concepts. The only thing that changes, of course, is like the wording and the numbers for math and all of that. They have performed higher in Spanish than in English, but they're not performing low in English. I think they just are stronger in Spanish or they feel more comfortable in Spanish. When I looked at the data for last year on their STAR, we had more students test in Spanish than in English. And their STAR scores were not the greatest, but it is known that they do struggle a little bit in third grade because it's the first year that they take the STAR. After interviewing, I realized that maybe I do need to go and get certified for ESL, or so that I can be, even if I'm in the dual language program has the English component, I'm still able to help the students who are in the dual language program, and I would be able to see what it's like to teach the same concept in two different languages, me doing English and another teacher doing Spanish. I wouldn't teach it in Spanish because, like I said, I don't feel fluent enough, and I get a little scared that I would say the words the wrong way that then the students need to learn. When studying dual language in the last few weeks of this course, what I realized is that, and I've heard other students mention this, that it's additive, and people kind of think it's more taking away. A lot of people are scared that dual language is the taking away of their primary language and enforcing their secondary language or English mainly. But I've noticed that it's not taking away their first language. For example, we are taking benchmarks right now this week, and what they want the students to do is take the first test in their primary language, which would be Spanish, and then they're going to take the test in English. So even though they take the test in both languages, they're allowing them to take it first in Spanish because they feel that they're stronger in Spanish. Um, I think that's interesting because when it comes to the STAR, they don't get to take the test in both languages, and I think that they should. You take it in Spanish first and then take it in English. And I know it's hard because STAR is very rigorous and very scary, and we're only allowed 4 hours a day, and it's hard. But maybe if they had another day for the Spanish test, we would be able to look at both scores and see where they perform better. Maybe they just get scared performing in English. Maybe it's hard for them because, like we said, they've been testing in Spanish all year long. And I know some test in Spanish and some test in English, but I think we should test dual language in both languages. I did enjoy the course because, like I said, I'm not dual language and I'm not ESL certified, but I got to see the concepts and the ideas that are used in those classroom settings. And when I was doing my homework and doing discussions and reading the articles and watching the videos, I realized there's a lot about dual language that I didn't know. For example, I really did think that they taught more in English than in Spanish, but I realized each school has a different dual language program. In one of our classrooms, we have a teacher who's self contained, and she teaches like about an 80-20. So she does 80 in English and 20 in Spanish because she has a majority of the kids that are testing in English, while the other two teachers are departmentalized through English and Spanish components. So they teach all the subjects, but one is in English and one is in Spanish. And for them, it's 50-50. But they do have more test takers in Spanish. I guess I always thought the dual language classrooms were the same. But after interviewing and reading and looking at the dual language schedules that were uploaded from other classmates, it's different. And I think it needs to be different based on the success rate of the students. Our students are what we primarily need to look at. Some students may perform better in an 80-20 environment, and some students may perform better in a 60-40 environment. We never know. I do want to go back to the interview for a while, and I asked the teachers if they thought that our program was more beneficial in dual language than in monolingual, and they said yes, primarily because, like I said, they are performing better in Spanish. My students that are monolingual, they're struggling with concepts that should be easy to them, but the kids that are learning in Spanish are doing really well. However, what does shock me is that the vocabulary in Spanish is a lot tougher than the vocabulary in English, and for some reason they understand it. And I think that's because their Spanish is so fluent and so precise that for them it's just another word. And it's a word that they know, while my kids who are learning these words in English have never heard these words before, and so they struggle. But yeah, so dual language education I think is vital in schools, and we need more of it, and we need teachers to be more educated on it. I do plan on getting my ESL certification, and I think most universities should actually have students get ESL certified before graduating. It'll help, especially when you're looking for a job and all that's available is dual language, with more students being prone to going to dual language rather than monolingual. So I think it's important for us all to understand dual language and to understand why it's important to us. I did enjoy this last half of the semester with you guys. Thank you for sticking around and watching the video. And thank you for all your feedback and all your input. And I've learned so much from working with you guys. Have a good one.